Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Carter, the model investor. Today I want to talk about a question that I've been asked a couple of times recently from newer investors or investors that have been investing in other states. What is my take on Section 8 tenants? Now there's a new law in New York that landlords can no longer discriminate against their income source of a tenant. So back in the day, you used to see quite a few listings that would say Section 8 welcome, or Section 8 apply here, or we welcome Section 8 applications. But now that's been done away with, so everyone is free to apply to your rental listing. When I purchased my first property, the property manager asked if I would like to have Section 8 or if that's something that I was comfortable with. And at the time, I just kind of, and I'll be completely honest here, I just said a flat out like no. That was an uneducated decision and like a choice at that time. It was just it wasn't something I was familiar with, and all the kind of stigma that I don't know that's attached to Section 8. At the time, for me, I just, like I said, it was an uneducated decision. But by the time, I had purchased my second and third property, I was open to it and they gave it a shot and it's worked out. So I have roughly, I think about 60% of my tenants now are on voucher programs, so either Section 8 or another type of housing assistance or income assistance, and about 40% cash paying tenants. But I am open to all sources now. I have to say that Section 8 for me has a lot of pros. Now this is always case by case, you have to decide yourself how you want to go about what kind of tenants you want in there or whatever, but for me, Section 8 has a lot of pros over cash paying tenants actually. You have the guaranteed rent each month. There's accountability, so if you have a problem with the tenant or for some reason something's not getting paid, you have a caseworker, so you have a contact other than the tenant to deal with. Also, the Section 8 will inspect the rental property yearly to make sure that the tenant is not damaging the property or that the landlord, so it's accountability on both sides. It checks that the landlord is providing safe, clean housing for the tenants and that they're maintaining the property, and also that the tenants aren't creating, an amount of damage or breaking the rules of their lease in any way. So there's a monthly inspection for that. Before a Section 8 tenant moves in, there's an inspection that's quite strict. It's just, again, like checking the safety of the house, and they check for peeling paint if there's children, and CO2 detectors and smoke detectors, etc. So those inspections I think are actually a pro. As far as nightmare tenants go, there's going to be a bad egg at some point, but it is absolutely not, in my experience, tied to Section 8. I'm in the process of evicting a cash paying tenant at the moment. She's not a bad tenant, she's just a little, she's behind on rent. And yes, I've had a couple of difficult tenants that have caused a few problems, but again, not related to the fact that they were on Section 8 housing vouchers. So it's always a difficult thing to talk about. No one kind of wants to put it out there. It's like a difficult subject to bring up, and I know a lot of people don't like to discuss it. But in my opinion, I've only had good experience with Section 8, and I feel also, being able to provide safe, clean, good housing for families that need the assistance also makes me feel good. And even before this new law that stopped, discriminating between what kind of tenants you could choose. I was open after that first property, once I got a little more educated on the process and how it all works. So anyone out there who's wondering, do I Section 8 or not Section 8? In my opinion, from my experience so far over the course of 3 years, I would highly recommend it. Of course, just because they're Section 8, like my broker Frank actually did a good video I'll put up here on his opinions as well. But doesn't mean just because they're Section 8 that you shouldn't do the normal tenant screening process. That should be across the board, no matter how the tenant is planning on paying for the rent. So the application should be the same. But yeah, only good experiences on my end, and I would say I'm definitely an advocate for Section 8 housing. Of course, it's different state by state, city by city, but I just wanted to share, my honest opinion with that, and yeah. So happy investing out there, and I will post again soon. Bye, guys.